This is a do-it-yourself linebacker kit. It's everything that you get that goes along with the kit, plus a video giving you some details on how to put her together. You've got your yoke arms. This is the center pin. Welds in there like so. Your pads come with the backing already on them. You have to take the backing off before you weld these on. Otherwise, you're going to melt your vinyl. This is our pre-covered bolts are in here. Here is your load sleeve, collars, rings, and everything, caps for the end. So, do-it-yourself linebacker kit. Boom. Build, if you can fabricate, do a little welding and whatnot, then you'll be able to make this thing yourself. So, this is the tutorial, what you get, how that you put it together. So, one thing you don't have to need but does come in handy is a piece of piping that has a 2-inch diameter on the inside. So that comes in handy. You can use 2-inch schedule 40 or schedule 80 pipe. That works well. That works as well. So here I'm using a piece of DOM. Some of you guys may know what that is, others don't. But you don't have to. That's what I use. So follow with me. Whenever you get yours, you're going to have dots here. The outside dots here, that's going to be where your rings go. So whenever you get your ring will be here. That's just to give you a rough idea and to help you locate what you're looking for. So if you stretch your tape measure out and you don't make the idiot mistakes we all tend to make whenever we're on the dummy end of the tape measure. This is for your brackets. So you got 2 reference points. This is 8 inches from the end, measuring this way, 8 inches, half, and then the ring's 1/2 inch over. Measure on down, 13 inches, and then the ring's on the other side. So here we're at 13 inches. We're going to put a spot of weld right here on the inside. All right, stage 2. I've got this ring over here tacked. I tacked it on the sides. I'll show you that a little bit later. I noticed I tacked it on the bottom to begin with, on the inside on the bottom, and now I'm tacking it on the outside. One on each side to hold it nice and firm. I've got my sleeve over here set to 13 inches, and I'm using my top plate. Remember, this one's welded and squared, so I'm using my top plate to help me position my other ring. I will measure and put it on first. These are the 2 load arms. This one's going into the shop, so it'll get wire wheeled off and everything before it goes. Yours, whenever you get them, will be ready to be painted and whatnot. So now we've got that adjusted. What I'm going to do is I'll hold these 2 pieces as I lift this plate off and I tack it. I'm in the shop right now. This guy's the only one holding the camera. This guy's only got 2 hands, so I'm going to have to do this bit off camera, and then I'll get right back to you. Hopefully you got the gist of that. Should be no problem. Hold the bits pretty still in one hand, move the plate, tack it with the welder. There you go. Okay, here's where you should be. I went ahead and tacked the rings on. If you'll notice the bar that we have here, the correlation betwixt the 2. That's how she'll go. Tack on the inside because the weights go over here. You don't want to have your weights butted up on your welds. Make sure that I weld to the outside only. The reason I don't weld to both sides, you could, but in this application, you stand a chance of warping this thin piece on top unless you turn your welder down quite a bit or wait a good time between passes and whatnot. I put 1 pass on the outside on each one. That's why my tacks are out here. That's why the other tacks in the bottoms here. And keep in mind all the load on this is going down. It's not load going this way. You don't have a lot of pressure on these welds, but go ahead and weld them all the way around. Same is true with this, all the way around one side. And a little tip that I do whenever I do this a little bit different now, but back whenever I started, I done it this way. It works really well. You guys, this may help. So once again, I'm two-handed bandit and a three-handed job here. I take my welder and I go ahead and I use these pieces here, and I push this piece. So as I'm welding, I'm rolling it with my arm and I'm sliding my welder up. So basically, you've got that type of a thing. The piece is rolling on these two. This piece is rolling, and as it's rolling, you're following it up with your gun. So it's a two-handed operation, but you can do a pretty good weld that way, or however that you choose to weld it. You know, it's, you're the fabricator in this one. I'm just the cut man. Alrighty now. Next part is joining this piece of pipe to this base plate. So the reason I do this first is because that makes this weld easier. Then we're going to go back over here in a minute and we will attach this piece, and then we'll weld on the outside of this as well. This is a 1/4-inch plate. This double bracing here makes the that's what allows us to have our strength, our integrity in our welds and stuff, or in our machine. This is a pretty important weld. That's why I like to have plenty of room to get good weld around here. Depending on your welder setting and stuff, I like to say you're the fabricator, so I'm not telling you how to do your job or not, but you can put a little bit too much heat into this, welding it all the way around if you don't really have your welder set. If you're burning too hot, if you're burning the candle at both ends, you're going to meet them up in the middle and it ain't going to be fun. What you can do is you can buckle this plate if you put too much weld on it at one time, burning too hot. So you kind of got to balance your heat so you don't buckle your plate. A lot of you guys, I mean, I know you're preaching to the choir on some of this stuff. Bear with me if I am. Well, some guys may not be as experienced in the shop, may crank her up wide to like 11 and have some warp issues. You can straighten it out, stuff like that, but why bother? So there you go with that. I'll get this weld together, then show you how I'll put these together. All right, now here's where we should be. You should have your pieces welded together all the way around. And if your welds don't look like mine, that's okay. They don't have to. These are, you know, these welds don't hold much. This is a weld you need to have, you know, to be a nice beefy weld. You need to try not to warp the plate. So what I do is I wash more of the heat up onto this part than I do down there, and yeah, just a few tips and stuff that you can do. Okay, so what we're doing from here, I'll lay this piece down, and this piece is still a little hot. She'll get heavy quick on me if I'm not careful, boys. Slide this piece on, and we need, in here, we need 4 inches. I cheat a little bit whenever I put these together. What I do is I get 2 pieces of square, and you're going to have 2 pieces, but you really need to do 2 pieces on each side. Why? Because no matter how much you try not to, you're going to get just a little bit of a bow in this, and you can get a lot of that out whenever you brace it up and stuff. So, all right, that's how I do it. I use a couple pieces here, clamp them together with my C-clamp. That's such. And bam. And then we're going to put our tack here and go ahead and weld. Yeah, you may get lucky and not that's a straight piece there. Usually it is, but if you get a little warp, what I'm saying is don't go and freak yourself all out, because you can get that out. Now this is still, yeah, damn, she's hot and smoky. Usually that's the way I like them, but you know. Okay. Now we're getting into a little bit more difficult parts, but should be super easy. 1-inch blocks or half-inch blocks underneath. Half-inch blocks is what you need underneath of your arms. So your yoke side here, put half-inch blocks underneath of it. You're going to slide your yoke arms into the frame that you've built. Now what I do is every one of them, you know what I mean, I'll make sure that it's 79 degrees both sides. So, you know, 79 degrees is what we're running at. If you don't have some fancy thing like that, what you could do is just hold it to the inside here, hold it to the inside here, flush it up against the thing there, make sure that you've got the same amount of distance here and the same amount of distance here. If you've put everything else together right and you've got this in the center as you should have, 6.5 inches, by the way, or 6 1/4 from point to point should line that up for you. If you hold it all the way over to the edge, make sure you've got the same distance here, all the way over to the edge, same distance there. Your angle should be right. Always double check mine. So that ought to get you squared away with your angles. The next thing with this is just going to be mounting your plates on. So once we get the plates mounted on, we're just about done, guys. One of the other things is whenever I ship you this out, she's going to have a hole in her so that you can weld with a retaining nut on. So I deburr the inside of that so that you'll, you know what I mean, we punch these out, so I've got that deburred for you. Just got to be careful whenever you're doing that not to get spattered on your screw threads. You know, that can cause you some problems. Actually could be a royal pain in the butt. Alright guys, got this one done. I put 3 welds down the side here, just about 1-inch welds. The way I do this on the inside, I mean, you do it however you want. I do some really thick, about 1-inch thick, wow, 1-inch thick welds in here.